John Parr just walked in, and well, actually, he's been here a few minutes. We've been just kind of shooting the breeze about the West Side and about Olympia and the days gone by.
Yeah, Dick, good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
John is this next 5 minutes is paid for by John Parr, attorney at law. And John, I know we could reminisce. Should have you on just sometime, just for fun, just talk about the old days in Olympia. Your firm has been around 100 years.
That's true, Dick. It has.
Family members, you and your...
Grandpa Parr came in 1906 to Olympia, and my dad came back in the late 30s, and I came back in 1974. So we continuously have been practicing law in Thurston County.
So those who have been around a while know that the John Parr attorney at law is a very respectable, reliable law firm, and those who haven't been around long should find that out.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm certainly trying to create the opportunity, that's for sure.
Well, you like different topics, and we were talking about pets. What does estate planning mean for my pet? We had something on the news this morning about Take Your Dog to Work Day, which was last Friday, and you were saying that it ought to be Take Your Dog to Your Attorney.
Yeah, take your dog to the attorney, and you can sit there and plan for what you would do with your animal in the event you pass away and the dog's still alive. It seems like maybe a bit of a silly subject, but when you think of all the people that absolutely love their pet, its companionship, its loyalty, and all of these things, and oftentimes the person will pass away without any planning whatsoever.
So what do? You select a caretaker or what?
First of all, you have to think about it financially, and then you have to think about it in terms of a caregiver. And if you intend to have your animal cared for after you're gone, either for a short time or for a long period of time, you have to set aside sufficient funds, and then you have to choose somebody that would actually care for the animal.
And then do you have to get information about your pet? I mean, you just don't say take care of Fido.
Yeah, that's really important. It's almost like doing a planning sheet for a human being. You have to determine what the information is about the animal, the illnesses, the medication, what the animal likes to do, what idiosyncrasies that you have to be aware of, and that sort of thing. And it's just critical that whoever would become the caregiver would have to know who the vet is and all this other information.
You probably don't want to surprise somebody and say, hey, guess what? You're the caretaker of my dog for the rest of your life. I mean,
it isn't a whole lot different than choosing a guardian or an executor. That person has to be aware of what the needs are. And what we try to do, if it's going to be a long-term care, is we try to convince our client to set up a trust for the animal's finances after he or she are gone, so that the money is there, it's safeguarded, it's doled out when necessary, and then the caregiver has a constant flow of income to care for the animal.
Is this a fairly common thing? People do this?
Well, it's a fairly common issue as to how people really care for their animals, but unfortunately, it's like any other estate planning, it really isn't being done. And let's not talk about a dog or a cat, let's talk about your horse that you absolutely love. You spend all the time nurturing and caring and feeding and riding. Suddenly you're gone, and what's going to happen to the animal?
And there are exotic birds that live 100 years. I mean, they're almost guaranteed to live longer than you do.
It's really true, and oftentimes an elderly person will say, well, I'm not going to have another animal, but then they really miss the companionship, and so they do, and you're almost guaranteed that the animal is going to outlive you, and you've just got to arrange for the animal to be cared for.
And of course, we got a minute left. We don't want people to think that the only thing that John Parr, attorney at law firm, has done is pets. I mean, you do everything.
Yeah,
estate planning.
That's a good point. We do general estate planning, we do trust work, we do powers of attorney, healthcare directives, and just talk about the what ifs of when you get down and suddenly a family member has a mental or physical issue. We do everything and advise on every topic really involved in estate planning.
And it's kind of fun for you to come in with a specialty thing like what to do about your pet. Well, we got about 30 seconds left, John. How do people find you?
Yeah, I'm up at Westhills Office Park. I'm in building number 11, and my telephone number is 357-3036.
And of course, John Parr, P-A-R-R.
That's correct.
And it's easy to remember, and it's always in the phone book. Or just look you up.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dick. My pleasure.
Thank you. This 5 minutes sponsored by John Parr, attorney at law, and that wraps it up for me, Dick Poost. I will talk to you later. You're listening to AM